family and friends. We had a nice day of rest, a sort of rest, our version of rest, and we learned a lot of new things. We did a little bit of traveling, and now we're back home. It's really nice to be here. Nice to let me get the chats going. Nice to reconnect. I'm sorry I didn't broadcast Friday night. We were traveling a bit, and it just got to be too late. Didn't wasn't practical. Wasn't possible to broadcast. I did get to interact with people outside of my usual environment. And I thought that was entertaining and interesting and kind of wondrous to see people functioning in the world. Hey, Catfish Customs, man, I like that. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Hey, Ian Bell, Andrea, or 11 Axtria, 5x5. Okay, so everything is good. We did a couple of things, but we ended up in Phoenix, Arizona for a night, and we accomplished several important missions for us and returned home safely. So much is going on. Okay, so here, this is just what I'm seeing on the thought streams tonight. I've been monitoring it. I hardly ever really get very far away from watching what I think is going on, or the interesting information that's coming forth. Tonight, the most brilliant post I think was let me get the name right. Charles. Let's see if I can get this right. Uh, mm, Charles. I'm trying to remember. Okay, I'll just go to the clip. But the essence of what I think this brilliant clip. It was a brilliant clip, a brilliant piece of journalism. And I'm sorry I can't get his name. Let me just think. What was that guy's name? I can't remember. Okay, an old friend of the family, but I can't remember saying, hey, Lucky Ticket. Hey, Grateful Power. Hey, everybody. It's really nice to be here. It's nice to be back broadcasting. I'm a little bit tired, but I think I'm going to be okay. I did have some of Brian's excellent coffee in his cup. Spiritual Bean Coffee. The best, I think the best organic coffee. I'm really digging the Wyatt Earp, his new combo.
It's not Wyatt Earp.
It's not Wyatt Earp?
No.
Okay. So I'm not actually drinking Wyatt Earp, but I do. I have had it before. Hey, Melody. So Mark, right? Mark Hansen, I think it is. Is it Mark Hansen? Yeah. Let me. So okay, let me just go through like a basic synopsis of what I'm seeing. The storm is upon us. The information, the annihilation of the deep state is taking place at such a feverish pace. You saw, and they come out with like a little hint of what's to come. This is the battle of the movies, right? So we're watching a very slick, well produced criminal production, money laundering and all that. They use all kinds of weird techniques, Mockingbird, DARPA. The chemtrails come to mind as well, and I'll probably launch into a bit of that at some point. But the information, like the Somalia catastrophe, this is a catastrophe for the Democrats, that they're being exposed. This whole, and this is a global thing. It's happening in Germany and France. The people are just not doing it. They're not playing along. They're not being good little puppets. And this is, I know it seems to be taking too long for us. I'm just thinking in the crypto realm, the creepazoids went out of their way to demolish the crypto industry in order to hurt Trump's business practices. Eric Trump has said that they wouldn't allow him to operate. They wouldn't allow the Trump family. I mean, the deep state has just been so cruel to them, and that sought refuge in the crypto world. Now, I think all their assets are going to come back swimmingly. It's going to be amazing. And I don't worry when crypto goes down because I know it has a function, it has a purpose. You can't you're just I mean, is Bitcoin going to go to $1 million? I just don't see how it's even possible. I don't in bizarro land, in the world where everything is hidden and there's a big shell game, and the Somalians steal billions of dollars. Not just the Somalians. Apparently, this has been going on. This is a worldwide attempt to destroy humanity, and it's everything. The difference is, at this time we see what's being done to us, despite the level of professionalism in their crafty plots against us. We're talking about the medical plots, the insurance plots, the financial plots, the you know the stealing of children. All these things are now exposed. And it's just going to, it is a D5 avalanche, and it's going to pick up snow as it goes down the mountain. Nothing can stop what's coming. It is snowballing. It is going faster and faster. Tr- Trump and the White Hats, this is a military operation. They're not putting up with nonsense. They're not like placating these protesters, and these protesters also fall into this domain of, they're too slick to be believed. They're not real protesters. They're paid shills. Hey, everybody. Yo, we're not alone. You're not sleeping, yeah? The energies are intense. Yeah, it is. It's very intense. I mean, I was in Phoenix, and I could just feel the vibes from people that have probably been working in this hotel for years. That, yeah, I would say to them, I would say, "Cómo está?" I would say something in Spanish, and they wouldn't answer me in Spanish. I think everyone's terrified that that I could be an ICE agent, and that sort of thing. It's just, and everybody is there. There's a level of, what I found, a level of fear in the air, that they're just not relaxing the way they might have in the past. There's a kind of a tension, yeah, huge. So I've never felt better. What a relief. The truth enlightened finally. Yeah, I don't feel bad. I don't feel like I wish they would hurry up. I feel like it is being hurried. I feel like everything is happening the way it should be. I wish I had more money, but you know, I I'm okay. I'm okay, man. I mean, I'd rather be here than in the Matrix. I mean, I was dealing sort of with people from the Matrix, but Matrix people, they they're scared of me. I mean, I'm not that they hear me say anything or anything, but they can just tell from my vibes that I'm not in the game, and it's scary to them to interact in some ways. All right, let me just go to this clip. I think it's monumental. Okay, I'm going to play the whole clip because it is such brilliant journalism. I think it is Mark Victor Hansen. I'm not sure. I get it confused because my family took in this man when he was young. I think his name was Mark Hansen, And he I know this sounds like a bizarre story, but my father, he was not Jewish, this guy, and my father would say, "Why don't you have some chicken soup? It's good for the soul." He would call it Jewish penicillin. He said, "Good for the soul." And Victor Hansen, who was a an entrepreneur and not very successful, took that line from my father. Never really acknowledged my father's creating that line, but he created this series of books called, Chicken Soup for the Soul. Anyway, that's just, one little. I've had this kind of life. I mean, my little brother was worked uh, very closely with Obama. I mean, they were pals before Obama got elected. They were flying around on airplanes together and such. Weird stuff like that happens. Okay, so Victor Hansen or Mark whatever. Okay, so I get them confused. But let me just play this clip. Now, let me give you a little why I think this is an important clip. Because because political expertise. We're talking about highly sophisticated CIA operations. We're talking about money laundering. We're talking about high level psychological warfare, really psyops on a very high level. And so too with the paid protesters. When you see them chanting, it's just like these guys. They must rehearse this. It's not believable anymore. So in a sense, the enemy who are desperate and have been using these techniques for many decades are now unable to change their methodology. Big word, sounds like a big word. Their methods. They cannot change their methods midstream for some reason. They're like deers in a headlight. Remind me, I'm just going to make a side point. The deer tick, this Lyme's disease, which was developed near where I grew up, in an island off the coast of Connecticut, where these evil scientists figured out a way to weaponize ticks against the people. And that's where Lyme's disease came from. Why did I go into that? I don't know. These things are just like they must be recognized. But we are in a kind of a storm. We are in an avalanche of information, and the professionalism of the bad guys. There was a clip saying that it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. All these brilliant things, these highly developed, uh, professionalized, weaponized information streams are being exposed because they don't pass the smell test. They're not credible. So if you've seen the movie Wag the Dog, it's a classic movie. We just saw it for the first time the other day, but it shows you how weaponized information is. That and how the bad guys try to capture the prevalent narrative of the day. They try to make it, you look over here, not over there. And the example I used, I don't know if I really developed this on Friday, but from Q Post 2549, it says that the Clinton Foundation was being investigated or indicted or something, and just coincidentally George Bush Sr. had his funeral on the same day, which was D5, December 5th, which is also a level of an avalanche. It's a severe avalanche at D5. So, and it says in this Q post, let me go to this Q post because I think this is interesting. And then I'll go back to Mark Victor Hansen's brilliant expose of those six congressmen who came out against President Trump and said you should disobey his orders. Highly weaponized, very interesting. But let me just go back a bit because I don't remember. I don't think I got to really do a program on this Q post, but I think it's quite interesting. Let me just get this. Okay, let's share this now. Okay, so 2549 from December 5th, 2018. Logical thinking. D5 drops first to last. D5 drops first to last. Content and dates. Huber drops first to last. Content and dates. Role of Huber played, I'm not pronouncing that right. Huber, I can't pronounce it, as portrayed by Q. What are the odds, mathematical possibility that Huber, whatever, I don't know how the H, would be scheduled to testify re Clinton Foundation on D5? What are the odds, mathematical probability that George H.W. Bush passes away and the state funeral is on D5? What other interviews and investigations were wiped clean, postponed, given a clean funeral takes given a state funeral takes up media coverage for a week? Why does the global fake news media, largest in the world, continually attack Q? Why does the Washington Post, leading the attack, think ABC agency? When you are awake, you see clearly. So this was in 2018. Remember, it says D5 drops first to last. We just passed D5 of 2025, so that's 7 years. I think this is really important, and this oddly enough relates accidentally on purpose, relates to the subject. So I didn't really consciously think of this, but this relates exactly to what Mr. Hansen is saying. I'm avoiding his first names. Mr. Hansen is saying. So when we talk about we're watching a movie, and this came to me recently, when they say we're watching a movie, it's both that the white hats are in control and there's certain information they want you to see, but also the deep state is in the business of making movies. They control Hollywood, the CIA and their ilk. They control the fake news media. They control big pharma. They control the stock market. They control the banks. Everything. I've seen a lot of posts tonight. Everything goes back to State Street and BlackRock. They own it all. They own the media. They own big pharma. They are, insurance, whatever it is, they own it. So, and their version of reality is what they expect people to take. Like, we want to have immigrants here because we want to open up our borders. We want to share our world. It's kumbaya. No, but the truth of the matter is, well, if that were the case, perhaps it would be acceptable. But these are warlike tribes. These are people who are not on our side necessarily at all. So people are not stupid. People, I mean, are waking up. They haven't been awake, but they're waking up to the fact that certain medical practices, which are accepted as normal, are money making techniques like chemotherapy. That they've weaponized our world against us. Same with the chemtrails. These are weaponized weather modifications. They put heavy metals in the air, and then they vibrate these heavy metals at certain frequency, which is of course going to make you a little bit nuts. So the idea of Wag the Dog, of them controlling this media. Now, if you look at it, okay, so this is the background for this clip, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see, where did I put that? I think it's up further. Tim Waltz. I mean, all these exposures are coming out. It's one after another. Cognitive warfare. I use this as a thumbnail. Control your thoughts, control your emotions. This fifth generation warfare is entering its final phase. Trust yourself, trust your knowledge, listen to your heart. Your soul will always show you the right path. Turn off the noise. Okay, that's good. They were elected big pharma. Wait, let's go. They were elected to protect your health, but they sold it to big pharma. And this goes to
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Gray, Mr. Wyden.
No.
Mr. Wyden, no. Ms. Cantwell.
No.
Ms. Cantwell, no. Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, no. Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Ms. Hassan.
Okay, so that's very interesting news. And okay, so Big Food is finally being held accountable for feeding disease, not nutrition. And that's BlackRock again. But I wanted to play this. I think I just really clipped it, so it must be at the top of this. Yeah, I think it's got to be all the way up. Here it is. Okay, this is it, it is Victor Davis Hansen. I apologize, Victor Davis Hansen, and this is think of this clip in context of the war, where you're at war against a malicious enemy that tries to control reality. This is a cognitive war. This is a war of cognition. Means like, kind of like, if you're like, metacognition is like to be self-aware, to, in other words, to know your thoughts. Like, there are times when I'll have an experience and I'll be like, the train rode by and I was thinking X. I was thinking this thought. That's called metacognition, to be aware of your thinking. And because a lot of people that haven't really worked on themselves, they think they are their thoughts. They haven't really learned that, I am Ellie having a thought. They're just completely controlled by their thoughts, that they think, a thought could come by and they would react emotionally without knowing, well, do I really want to react to that thought? That sort of thing. The insurance companies need to be revamped. Just think about something: a low-paid worker sits at his phone and decides whether. Yeah, it doesn't need to be revamped. It needs to be removed. It needs to be nuked. The whole insurance industry should be destroyed. There's no reason for these middlemen. It's just no the deep state has to be completely obliterated, in my opinion. And as a person who doesn't believe in insurance, I can tell you that there are two prices in the doctor's office. Although recently we went to a doctor and they charged us the full insurance price, but it wasn't out of this world. This is all a game. It's a shell game. Oh, you have insurance, so we can really charge you. But it's a scam. Okay, so let's go back to this clip. I'm going to play the whole clip because it is so brilliant. But I'm also watching this movie called Prison Break, and one of the people in it is a deep state assassin, and he watches a film of one of the prison of Michael Scofield saying something publicly, and they analyze it the way these people analyze films. They're professional propaganda people. Okay, that's the bottom line. But it doesn't work anymore. This this hiding in the shadows, like this Wizard of Oz type world, it doesn't work anymore because people are somewhat awake, and we've been educated about all this stuff. But let me just I'm talking too much, but I wanted to bring a little bit of a background to this clip because I it's far and away the most brilliant thing I've heard in a long time. But listen to this.
Have you ever watched a perfectly orchestrated plan unravel in real time? Because what happened to Mark Kelly this week wasn't just political embarrassment, it was systematic destruction. And I witnessed every moment of it from the inside. The first crack appeared on a Tuesday morning that nobody saw coming. Kelly thought he had crafted the perfect message. 6 carefully chosen lawmakers delivering what looked like a spontaneous warning to our military. But there was something about the timing, the polish, the absolute precision of their words that made my historian's instincts scream. This wasn't conscience speaking. This was choreography. I've studied propaganda campaigns across centuries, from ancient Rome to modern psychological warfare. And what I saw in that video matched templates I'd only encountered in foreign destabilization operations. The emotional temperature was manufactured. The urgency was engineered. Even the lighting followed patterns designed to maximize psychological impact. But here's what nobody expected. The FBI wasn't fooled either. And what they found goes deeper than anyone imagined. You see, I've spent decades analyzing how power structures collapse from within. And there's always a moment when the architects reveal themselves through their own precision. That moment came when investigators noticed something extraordinary about the video's metadata. The production timeline showed coordination across 6 different time zones, with encrypted file transfers happening at 3 a.m. Eastern, exactly when most foreign influence operations begin their workday in other hemispheres. The technical sophistication was staggering. Professional-grade color correction software, military specification encryption protocols, and communication channels that required security clearances to access. This wasn't political activism. This was operational tradecraft. The kind I'd only seen in classified briefings about foreign intelligence services targeting democratic institutions abroad. But the most chilling discovery came from voice analysis. Linguistic experts identified micro-patterns in the lawmaker's speech that suggested external coaching. Specific phrase structures, emotional inflection points, even breathing patterns that matched psychological manipulation techniques developed by foreign adversaries. Someone had trained these 6 individuals to deliver maximum psychological impact while maintaining plausible deniability. When federal investigators began dissecting that video frame by frame, they discovered something that changed everything. Digital forensics revealed IP addresses connecting the production to a contractor with a very specific history. Someone who had orchestrated influence campaigns in Eastern Europe, Africa, and 2 classified operations in the Middle East. Suddenly, Kelly's spontaneous message had fingerprints, real ones. The financial trail was even more damaging. Production costs exceeded $30,000, but that was just the beginning. Forensic accountants discovered a web of transactions spanning 14 different financial institutions across 7 countries. Money laundering specialists were brought in to decode the flow, and what they found resembled the funding architecture used in color revolution operations overseas. Shell corporations in Delaware connected to consulting firms in Switzerland, cryptocurrency transfers bouncing through exchanges in Eastern Europe, nonprofit organizations with boards composed entirely of former intelligence operatives.
Yeah, I found that just a brilliant analysis, and it makes me also think of these the paid protesters. They're just too slick. They're too professional. They don't look like real people. They're coming apart. The egg has cracked. That's the storm has cracked the egg. They are running. There's fear. There's panic in DC, in my opinion. they're running for cover, and their last kind of vestiges, their last attack is to make sure the crypto market doesn't succeed, so that Trump is hurt. I mean, these people are sinister, sick. This is a criminal cartel. These people were in bed with the drug cartels, with the the adrenochrome factories, the organ transfer, organ selling and killing, and the killing. But it for Jasara to be enacted, all fraud and all war and all these criminal activities have to come to an end. So we're hearing that President Trump and the White Hats are now going after the cartels. They're saying they're going after them name by name. They know where they live, they know where they sleep, they know where their families are, and they're going to take them down. This is a military sting operation coming to a kind of climactic crescendo, a kind of everything is crashing at once. And I think this will lead to a gradual, in real time, a real collapse, like Victor Hansen said, Victor Davis Hansen, I'm sorry, Victor Davis Hansen said, is that this is what happens at the end of a regime. They're just too slick for their own good, and it's easy to see past what they're trying to hand out. So I think this is very interesting, and it makes me feel very hopeful. Although the British elite are behind psyops against Trump and America, they have lost control over America. Yeah, they're all losing control. Their narrative is coming apart. The people are very unhappy with the Muslim immigrants across all countries. The EU, from what I understand, is crumbling, and people are going to return to a kind of a nationalistic framework, a nation state, and a people that have a history and have a unity. This is all, it's coming full circle. I see you on Facebook now also. Cool. Yeah, I'm on X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and Instagram. Although I don't even know what Instagram channel I'm on, but I think I'm on some kind of I'm using a new platform I haven't used for a couple of years, because in the old day, the last time I used it, I had problems with this platform. It's called Restream, but you can it's a really great tool. It's just that in the old days I couldn't they made it difficult for some reason, for a very short time, probably to broadcast on Rumble and YouTube. And at the time, I got my YouTube, my 13th YouTube channel nuked, so I stopped using Restream. It was here's okay. I'm going to go into a kind of a weird transition here. Here's the thing. I like Restream. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant platform. It's something that my friend Binay from Nepal introduced to me. It's really a wonderful platform. But then they kind of screwed up, and I couldn't. And then I lost my YouTube channel, and I was like, okay, I'll just broadcast on Rumble. But here's something that I was just thinking about, and I'm going to use it to segue into some discussion of the LifeWave technology and product. One of the things that really blew my mind and blows my mind on a continual basis is the inability to contact a human being across many different platforms. X has this issue. Restream has this. I beg the people at Restream, please, can I talk to you on the telephone? No, we can't. It's impossible. But however, I was able to, we were able to, by using their chat, which was very frustrating for me, because I'm a person who operates on vibrational tone. I can tell where a person. I'm more comfortable hearing their voice and hearing the sound of their voice than in getting a cold message on a chat platform. Okay, and it takes time that way, but we figured it out. But that inability to talk to a as Elon calls it, a carbon-based life form is something that just drives me nuts because in operating outside the matrix, I have to deal with things inside the matrix, and invariably they put you on hold. They tell you you can talk to one, two, or three, and then you're going to be sent to some kind of AI voice, and they will tell you you can do this, but go to our website, and you can't talk to a human being. I want to I just and I just from this angle I want to talk just briefly about LifeWave. This is an incredible product. We went to a LifeWave like a boot camp. It was very interesting. But I just want to invite, you know what, let me put up while I'm doing this. But the basic point I want to make is that uh is that with LifeWave, the way LifeWave is presented to people, which is direct marketing, you could always talk to a person. Like, for example, if you wanted to purchase LifeWaves and you wanted to get a hold of me. Now, I apparently a lot of people are interested in the LifeWave product from what I've related about my experience. But ultimately, if you really wanted to talk to somebody, you could. I mean, I put Dr. Stacy's number. You can talk to a human being. This is a very different business model. So I just want to encourage anyone who's looking for a very beautiful way to share a technology that is very exciting, a very exciting technology, a very exciting health technology. That it's a business that relies on direct contact with people. Now, I went to this meeting and I tried to ask some questions to various people, including Michael Jaco. I was able to talk to Michael Jaco, and I said, how do you make it a personal experience, and yet you don't really talk to people in your downline personally? He says, well, he has a big organization, and I have Dr. Stacy, and Dr. Stacy does the work of signing people up. But there's a person involved. I mean, you're giving your credit card number to a human being who's like a trusted person. This is very different from a lot of the newer platforms. And I guess I'm relating this also to this production that Victor David Hansen was saying, that this is this is like a level of technology that's very above human. It's not a human intelligence. Oh, and I do want to make one other very important side point, and that is that is it Roseanne? Roseanne, I think it's Roseanne, said that the difference between a human being and a non-human being is that human beings have the ability to change. That is a fascinating definition of humanity now, because when you think about it, like, I wonder, like I have friends. I've often spoken at this. I have boyhood friends that do the same things that we did when we were 5 years old. Now they're 70, and they have the same friends. They do the same things. Are Do they have the ability to change? I think they do. I don't know, but I think that's a very interesting definition. Okay, a side point, but I invite everyone. I invite everyone to reach out to Dr. Stacy, and I also want to say that if you really wanted to talk to me about it, it could be. It's not. I'm open to it. Okay, I mean, if you really need to talk to me about it, we'll have a conversation. I'm trying to find like some business leaders. I'm hoping to manifest a few people who want to help do this business with me, and I would really like to have a personal rapport and communication with several people who are interested in really sharing this technology with people who need it. And another thing, by the way, that just in my own personal experience, besides not having to take naps anymore, besides not being in pain when I'm working, I'm 70 years old and I'm building a house. I don't feel I'm the this technology is very good at at dealing with pain in a way that's not as dangerous as some of the chemicals that the medical profession wields out. But another thing that I just realized, and this has taken me years to understand, I don't I haven't had a cold. I haven't had any kind of sickness in years. In the 3 years that I've been using these patches, I haven't. I mean, admittedly, we don't live with a lot of other people. I don't work anywhere, but we do spend a lot of time in town, and we have close contacts with a lot of the vendors there. So it's not that I'm completely removed from exposure to disease, but since I've been using the LifeWave patches, we don't even we can't even relate to the idea of getting sick. It's just like what's I don't even remember what it's like. I mean, do remember what it's like, but it's something that I don't have to deal with, and I would attribute it to to X39, the X39 patch and the other patches. But there are specific patches for pain. We've been experimenting lately with one called Silent Night, and I do notice that I sleep a lot better. I still do wake up in the middle of the night and need time. I do sometimes wake up with a kind of a feeling of panic, and with the night these nighttime patches, I'm able to go back to sleep. Whereas when I don't have I'm not using that or Alavita. I usually I'm up till like 5 or 6 in the morning, and then I may fall asleep for like a half hour. But anyway, I just invite people to really experiment with these patches. I think we're all going to learn about them either from me or Michael Jaco or other people. I think you're going to get this one way or another. But I just encourage people to work on their health in that respect. Just the same way I say that you should be investors. Everyone should be actively investing in assets that make sense to you and feel comfortable to you and you can relate to. Okay, so that's that. So, call Dr. Stacy if I'm inviting you to call Dr. Stacy if you would like to place an order and try this incredible technology. And I will just play a really short clip from the inventor, David Schmidt, and then we'll go back to the news. No, that was up here. That was like up here.
And they, again, will not age, and as long as they're not killed by a predator, their lifespan is effectively.
He's talking about lobster, but there was
invent and develop technology, and we started to do our studies, and we found in our cell culture studies that we could reverse the age of the cells 2 to 3 years in only about 10 minutes exposure to this novel type of light therapy. I'm involved in a Bible study, and one of the things in the Bible study is to look at the original Hebrew of the Old Testament or the original Greek of the New Testament. And in Hebrew, you can convert letters and words over into numbers. And I converted in the book of Genesis, the story of creation. I converted those words from Hebrew over into numbers, and the same pattern that was in lobsters was in the book of Genesis, in the story of creation.
Wow.
And this became really self-evident to me is that there is a God and creator. God created all things and put his signature in living organisms. And we can detect this today. It wasn't possible many years ago, but technology now that's been around for, let's say, the last 20 years, where we can actually measure the light emission off of these organisms, allows us to validate that that is indeed the same as what's in the Bible, and these codes are not there by accident. It's highly organized.
I just wanted to share a bit of that of the thinking that goes into these products, into these inventions. But okay, that was a side point. I'm just and I want to thank everyone who has supported us in this way. And one other thing that I want to say about this is that I really I'm now, I'm making a little bit of money on this. I'm making enough to take over our groceries, which is pretty big. We buy nice clothes, nice food, um, but that it seems to me that the fact that I was deplatformed 14 times on YouTube, the fact that I lost my revenue stream from the Department of Education out of nowhere. They just said, if you don't do what we say, you're out of a job. So that I've been trying to find a way to make an income through, and I went through a bunch of other network marketing things, but that with and it wasn't like I just said, this is the way I'm gonna. It's by it seems like it's by default that I'm able to make a little bit of money from this. This was not my intention. I wanted to make money from YouTube, but they made it impossible for me. So, it's what we call hashgacha pratis. It kind of like the way I build the house. It's just like I'm like, well, what building materials do I have? What kind of window can I put in there? What do I, and it's the same thing. It just like it seems that I've been kind of led into this into sharing this particular product, which I find you know transformative. At least it's an amazing thing. So if you're suffering in any way from things, and maybe, and we're not allowed to make claims, but if you are suffering from pain, this is definitely worth investigating, in my opinion. It just it's certainly going to be better than any of the professional medical solutions that are out there. Okay, so enough said. All right, let's go back to the thought stream. You have this contact information. Maybe you should write it down, and then I don't have to always put it up. But give Dr. Stacey a call, even if you decide not to do it. Just to hear. Ask her. Let's say you feel like you periodically experience back pain, and you just give her a call and see what she says. And it's not, no pressure. It's not like you're not obligated to do anything, and you should be like with investing, you should use your own, what I call hashgacha pratis, your own kind of divine judgment. You should be able to read your own star map and figure out what's best for you. Okay, so we should always talk about making. We should talk about how to make money with LifeWave. Yeah, yeah, we should talk about it. Yes, yeah, definitely, Nachum. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this is another thing that I've had to like come. It's a difficult part for me. The idea of making money, that there's something wrong with making money. I have to come to really embrace it, and really see the beauty in it, and just and the ability for other people to be able to reproduce this model. It's an amazing technology, and you will be helping people to nullify pain, get to the source of a problem with stem cell production, this kind of thing. It's pretty cool. But yeah, thanks, Nachum. Good to see you. And Grammy, yeah, nice to catch this podcast. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to the thoughts room. And I think I want to wind this up with the idea that let me go. Let me just take this off. The idea that we are really in the storm part, like this is a really D5 event with the information. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Okay, so let's just go here, and I'm just going to let's just go through some of the kind of stories that are operational right now. Okay, so the housing market has been the value of property has been raised because of illegal immigrants being given houses. The only reason chemotherapy is used because doctors make money from it. I mean, these kinds of stories, having to correct the misinformation. Yes, geoengineering is real. Okay, it's not a conspiracy theory. Here, these breaking. Here's what led to a mob of anti-ICE protesters attacking me in New Orleans. And I want to play this clip. I believe it was this clip. Let's see. That I wanted to show it to you because this parallels the story from Victor Davis Hansen, that these people are too professional to be. It's their professionalism is reveals their fakery. Okay, so let me go back to that clip. Okay, that to me, that kind of choreography is just it's totally fake. I mean, I've been in. I was raised on protests. I was at protests when I was 14 years old in New York City. I would like leave school to go to protests of Vietnam War. I mean, this is not a credible protest. I mean, I know what a protest looks like, a real protest, and it doesn't look like that. Okay, so I just thought I would mention that. But Saturday Night Live, yeah, so nice to catch up. Thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate it. Sounds like David Schmidt is learning a bit of Kabbalah. Yes, it does, doesn't it? But the fact that he's open to it is, I mean, and his new product, this X2O, where he infuses. Did you buy one, Nachum? I'm not in a position. I don't think they're really for sale yet because they have some quirks they have to work out. But this the idea of infusing light into food and water, that's kind of his next thing, and he's got this mapped out for like the next 20 years. Now, a lot of you might say, "Yeah, but Ellie, we're waiting for the med beds." Yeah, but Ellie, we're waiting for XRP. Yeah, but Ellie, we're waiting for the RV to happen and our Iraqi dinars to be revalued. We're waiting. How long are we going to be waiting? I don't know. I don't know. I don't I don't concur with people who say the EBS is coming next Saturday and they're going to it's not this is not the way the narrative is rolling out. So, what do you do about your pain in the meantime? You're waiting for the med bed. You're waiting for your mom's waiting for the med bed, and people are in desperate situations health wise. You can see them. I don't. I mean, I don't know what your grocery stores look like, but I see a lot of people with walkers up here. I mean, admittedly, this is kind of a retirement community because the cost of living is a little lower down here, but up here, wherever it's so anyway. Yeah. So okay. So what is the best place? What is the best place to buy copper? I just buy it from. I would say like Apmex. Just a regular metals dealer. That's what I did. I just went. I think I went to a different one, but I think in the near future I'm going to be not. I'm hoping to, I'm thinking to myself, I can no longer afford to buy a roll of silver the way I used to because silver is so expensive now. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have to go back to just buying like a single ounce or, a couple ounces of silver at a time. But yeah, I think copper is definitely worth looking at. People are saying that XDC is related to copper, that the cryptocurrency, that ISO 222 currency XDC, which is trading about 5 cents. So it could be even a better value than actual metal. I don't know how that's going to play out, but I'm having to, I'm struggling. We're struggling financially, but we're making it. We're making it work, and I'm learning how that sometimes I have to sell a little crypto. I mean, that's what we had to do this weekend. We had some things that were kind of surprise costs, and I'm like, okay, I guess, and it's very easy to convert crypto into cash. Whereas with metals, you have to know somebody. They have this the place has to be open. This kind of stuff. So it's a little more involved. With crypto, it's just like, I need $100. Okay, man. I mean, we needed gas money to get back from Phoenix, so we just, I sold some of my Algorand, which was up a little bit. I've been holding on to Algorand for years. I have a certain amount of Algorand. But anyway, so I sold a little. Okay, whatever. It's hard for me. I like to buy. I don't like to sell. I just don't like to sell. But sometimes you have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Okay, so thank yeah. Say sure, Walter. But I mean, I like the idea of having some solid silver, and I think I'm just gonna have to, like, bite the bullet and just say, "Hey, man," like in the old days, I wouldn't think twice about buying an ounce of silver. Now I'm such a big shot, I have to buy a roll. A roll is, like, over $1,000 now. It's like $1,200 for 20 ounces of silver. So forget about it, man. For me, that's no longer an option. But I could buy 2 ounces for 120, whatever. But yeah, do not buy valuable coins, in my opinion, unless you really know coins. Like Daniela's father, he knows what coins to buy. I don't. I used to when I was a boy, but I don't know anymore. So I would just stick to silver eagles, gold eagles, copper eagles. I mean, we didn't buy copper eagles because I have a thing for the Standing Liberty design. So we bought 20 Standing Liberty ones because I when I was a boy I collected Standing Liberty quarters. So it's just ingrained in my DNA, right? Physical silver at the threshold of stage 4 panic explosion could be, yeah. AI needs more silver too, delays and premiums. But you know what? There's also a place for copper as well. So yeah, I agree. I agree silver. But on the other hand, if I knew what I was doing prospecting wise, I think I'm standing in all kinds of silver out here. I don't think people say, well, there's no more silver. I think that's ridiculous. I think there's tons of natural silver and gold on the land. It's just they make it so hard to, like here where I live, I don't have mineral rights. The railroad, please, I mean, what WTF? The railroad has the mineral rights for my property? It's insane. I'm not saying that I couldn't sneak out, but to have a big operation out here, to have a real mining operation here, I'm sure I'd get shut down. There's airplanes flying over me all the time. Yeah, the silver halves. Yeah. Yeah, those are good. Those are good. Yeah, we got off on a tangent. Okay, so yeah, I mean, but the point is that you should be what's the word? Like fluent in the language of exchanging and investing, right? So you should just you should know where you're going to buy them. So if you're asking me where to buy them, I would say there are a lot of very legitimate silver, gold, copper, metal, platinum, whatever you want online. It's better, it is probably better to have a relationship with if you have a coin shop or you have a a place in your town where somebody is going to treat you fairly and you can develop a relationship. I always prefer that. But you could develop a relationship with a dealer at one of these big companies too. I'm not a big Noble Gold fan. I hate to say it because I have a friend who does a lot of business with them. I think they're probably really good, but in my heart of hearts, I really believe that everyone should be sovereign in this respect. That you should have your own. You don't need somebody. You don't need. We're getting rid of the middlemen. Period. On all levels, in insurance, in investment, in education. I met a soccer team when I was at this hotel. The young guys who were 15 years old, and there were like about 20 of them. I said, "You guys are 15, man. They're getting ready for the Olympics. In a couple of years, they were pretty friendly." And I said, "Well, don't you have to go to school?" And they're like, "No, we go to school online." I mean, you don't need a teacher. I mean, what good? The teacher was just like there to make you feel like you weren't smart enough to be like the other kids. I mean, I don't know I was a teacher, man. I it they wanted me to really torture children, and I was just like, I'm not doing that. It's not for me. And that made me a suspect. That made me, I wasn't in the club, and I didn't get the good gigs. I didn't get the extra, the money that they make on the textbooks and the new software. Rocketing silver is a proton torpedo detonated deep down in the central bank. Yeah, I know that. I know that it's going to destroy. But I just, it's yes, it's true. I know that's true. I don't. You're very focused on like a certain kind of mindset that I feel like a couple years ago you and I would have just totally been kumbaya about XRP and we would have been excited beyond belief. I've kind of moved beyond that. I consider investments and keeping track of the financial situation kind of one of the many balls, one of the money juggling acts that I do at a time. I'm just as involved with my house building. I consider this a kind of it's probably my best investment is this land. I got the land cheap. So, I do relate to the silver and gold and XRP and XLM and XTC and all that stuff, but it's not as much of a driving force. I'm thinking of like that, life and being many ways. In fact, recently I've I was trained in I don't know, trained or I was broken. I went to a graduate school. I got a graduate degree in creative writing. And lately I've been thinking, I really want to write something. I want to get involved again with the act of creating of wordsmithing kind of. I've been enjoying it with songwriting, but I want to get back a bit to delving into some sort of prose, be it. And Nachum, you also, man, you're a writer too. So Nachum, you should be writing, man. Yeah, whatever your talent is, this is a time to really explore it, in my opinion. I grab a blanks at a local coin shop. that are 9. Yeah, that's the way to go. You blanks are fine, man. I mean, at the end of the day, when you come to cash it in, I just tell you from experience, they're not going to care. Oh, that's a 2008 proof coin from this mint. We're going to give you an extra. You're going to pay extra for that. But when you turn it in, they're just going to weigh it, right? So that's what I've seen. Wordsmith, yeah, Gavin Newsom in some divine derision. I don't know. I don't know. Alchemy. I'm not following you tonight. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and everyone has to work at their own level. But I think all these things are important. I think your health. I think investing in. I'm inviting people to check out the Lifeway product. Call Dr. Stacy. I mean, to have a human being to confer with. You could sign up on the website, but I think it's really charming and old school and important to have a human voice behind it. Anyway, okay, so yeah, so we've gone at it. So we went from examining the slick professionalism of these crazed wordsmiths. I mean, these guys take it to another level. And if you saw Wag the Dog, you would understand. And then we ended up talking about LifeWave a little bit and Gematria perhaps, and now we're talking about investments. What I want to see, or what I feel like I've done to some extent in my own life, and what I want to share with others. By the way, I am legitimately patched up. I'm not just saying it. We really believe in it. In fact, we've invested quite a bit into patches because your health is your most important investment. But Danielle and I, as soon as we get a payment from like Social Security, we're like, I need more, Silent Night. I need more. We went to this boot camp and we got 2 free sleeves of X49. So we're patched up with X39 and X49, which is high level for us anyway. Protect your energy and DNA. Yeah, well, that's what Q says, Anton. Need med beds. Where are they? That's my point. I'm like, don't wait to be saved. If you need vibrational frequency light technology, call Dr. Stacy. If you're waiting for the med beds, man, I mean, you don't have to wait anymore. This technology is very exciting, and it's really light technology. It's really frequency based. So when is it going to come? Who the hell knows? It's the same, probably the same week that XRP goes to 500 or 1,000 or $100,000. It sometime, someday. But in the meantime, it's my opinion, my personal opinion, my humble opinion that don't wait. Don't wait to be saved. Don't wait for the med bed. Don't. And the other reason that I say that is because in order to manifest something, you have to do action. For example, I've talked to this. I've spoken on this a lot of times. We moved up here in an RV, and we decided to build a house. I did not have money for lumber, but I continually was open. I started going to Home Depot and buying the wood they were throwing away. They were selling for half price. I started doing that quite a bit. We would go there almost every other day to find a few pieces of wood, and I built a greenhouse out of it, and I started little projects with it. But I was priming. This is part of priming the pump. And if you really are serious about manifesting something, you need to continually do the action. Do actions. There's thought, speech, and action. But the action is, in a sense, the highest level because it's physical. Right, Nachum, you got that in Chassidus, that Atzmus, that God itself is in the physical. So in order to manifest something like good health, you don't just wait for it to be dropped on you. You go to, you're getting a med bed appointment. All these people like Mr. Poole and all these people are like, you'll get it at your RV appointment. You could go listen to Mark Z. Mark Z will tell you that you can take an old suitcase and you're going to go to like some undescript location and they're going to give you millions of dollars and you'll take it home and you'll buy a house, but you won't be able to tell anybody. But this kind of this takes you out of the creation process. It says somebody's going to give you a call. It's coming from outside of you. Whereas if you're really into, in my opinion, if you really want to manifest something, you have to be involved. So I went down, I started buying at Home Depot. Then I went to Lowe's one day and they sold me a whole truckload of lumber. But I still had in mind that I can buy lumber cheap if it's a little bit, if it's what's called dunnage, if it's not perfectly straight. And wood, nature doesn't like straight lines. So I just kept at it. And then I asked the right person. He says, I'll give you this whole, 5 trailer loads of lumber for like, $1,500. You get, but this is enough I have enough lumber outside to build a house or two, at least a house. But this is what I'm saying is that, and same thing with windows. I had a friend of mine, he had a bunch of broken windows. He said, just take these windows and and I, out of the 6 windows he sold, there were only 2 that weren't completely broken. And there was one broken one that I put up anyway, because that's what I had at the time. And then now I'm taking them all down and replacing them with these old sliding glass doors that are magnificent. Let me just show you again what it looks like. These are pieces of glass that were I bought for $50 a piece. Now I went to a window place this weekend, and in Phoenix, and I thought I could buy. I did buy like 3 pieces of glass that were big pieces of glass. Put them on the truck for 2 for 25 and 1 for $5 or $10. But most of the windows there were thousands of dollars for a big window. It's thousands of, if you want it on a track where it slides and it does all the bells and whistles, you're talking about. Somebody gave me an estimate of $30,000. I bought windows, all the windows I have enough windows now for the whole house for maybe a couple $100, maybe $500 max I've spent so far. But they wanted 30,000 anyway. But this is my point is the manifestation process. So I have to listen to my own thing about, if you want to manifest rolls of silver, 20 pieces of 20 ounces of silver, and you can't afford it, you buy a little bit of silver. I could buy junk silver, but you have to continually prime the pump, in my opinion, with action, and not wait to be saved. So all these people, all these patriots who are telling you the RV is coming soon and the Iraqi dinar, there were very reputable sources. Ariel, I consider a fairly reputable guy, said that last January, that a year ago, the dinar was going to get revalued. He swore by it. And that is a year later, it still hasn't happened. So if you're waiting all this time, and I have friends who were waiting, depending on this to pay bills and stuff, I just consider, I have some dinars, but they sit, and maybe someday they'll be valuable. Maybe someday I'll just be like, hey man, I've been holding these for 20 years and they never really happened. And, maybe I'll give them to my let's hope my grandchildren as a remembrance of the Iraq from the past. Everything is in flux though, but we are in this element of the storm. is this a quick fix? Is suddenly all the immigrants going to go home and all the cartels are going to be beaten down and all the bad guys are going to be destroyed by the military in the next week? And then they'll have the movie and the 8 hour movies and it'll all be over. And XRP will go to the moon. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that's the way things are going. So I would say keep manifesting, keep dreaming, keep priming the pump. If you want to have a bunch of silver, like I'm just telling myself now, I'm listening to my own advice. I need to like stop being such a big shot and just get online and buy an ounce of silver for $60, and just bite the bullet and say, okay, yeah, I used to have a lot of silver, but now I don't. I traded it for land. I feel like, I'm still a little kid trying to act like a grown up. Anyway, it's all good. The old fiat system needs to break first. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, XRP alchemy, you're like in this box. You're like, in my opinion, you're like, yeah, this is the way they're telling you it's going to go down. It doesn't have to go that way. Nothing is as it seems. I mean, that's kind of like old school, like when I used to listen to Digital Asset Investor, it's got to be like this. The first it's not coming out like that. It's coming out like it's a weird jigsaw puzzle, and the corner piece, you may have the corner piece, and you may have to just build a little bit of structure around one piece of the puzzle, and it doesn't have to go any certain way. That's what all the people that are telling you, like Mark Z, for 5 years. Next week, the Iraqi dinar is going to be $3. I got it on good account. He has all the experts to prove it, but it's not going down that way. Nobody knows. Nobody has a crystal ball here. This may take another 5 years. It may take 5 minutes. I don't know. But my point is that you need to be sovereign, or we need to be sovereign. We need to be in control of our health. We need to be in control of our money. We need to be in control of insurance and medical bills and all that. That's just my opinion. That's how I live. But anyway, I'm gonna just we'll play a tune. Let's play "Leaving the Matrix." I haven't played that. I didn't play that last time. And thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for for checking out the Lifeway product. I totally appreciate it. And again, if anybody really wants to start a business and really wants to pursue it, it's a very nice way to make money. It's not you're not punching a clock. You do it if you're motivated, you can do great things, and there's no crime to making money. Although I say that, but it's hard for me to really, I'm working on myself. I have to come to that level. Anyway, does frequency work? Yeah, I mean, the frequency of these patches for me has been very big. I feel like I'm getting younger. I'm doing stuff out there physically, and I can feel that if I didn't have the patch, I'd be in a lot of pain. But I put the patch on, and I'm like, hey, I feel great. Let's go throw in another window. Okay, so yeah, I think frequency works. I can review it and gold QRS. Yeah, but it's like, is it going to happen? Yeah. Is it going to happen the way all the experts say it's going to happen? I don't know, man. I got a bridge in Brooklyn I could sell you. It's just yeah. You got it, alchemy. It's all with the flow, man. The divine creator. Just like, let's go back to the beginning of this video. Just like those guys have tremendous expertise on this propaganda they create, so too does the divine have incredible wisdom and surprises in your own personal narrative, right? You always think you're going from A to B, and you end up taking a little shortcut over to X and Y before it's just like the way life unfolds is not, oh yeah, first this and that. I mean, that happens in maybe in robotics, but not in organic life, in my opinion. Doesn't seem to. Anyway, the pet goat, yeah, I love that one. Yeah, magic. All right. Anyway, so yeah, let me play a tune and then we'll call it a night. And by the way, I believe tomorrow's Sunday. Yeah, Gila will be here with us at. I'm planning to do it 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I'm gonna try to be on time because she actually has a real life. All right, hold on a second. Mm, 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 mm.
Living in the city, I was paying down my bills. One flat tire, and the whole thing went to hell. Credit cards for groceries, I'm deep in debt again. It's time to split this scene, walk with you, my friend. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, we're heading for the promised land. Stopped paying taxes, your insurance I don't need. The medicines are killing us, hospitals grow like weeds. Moving to paradise, I don't need no gassy cars. Fake news, endless wars, a satanic legal bar. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. My friends all tell me I lost control. Left my wife and job just to run down rabbit holes. But I can tell you one thing about my fall. Where we go one, we go all. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. Leaving the matrix, we're heading for the promised land.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're in a very exciting place. It's obvious to see that the plan is working. the timing, it's the direction, it's the direction, not the dates. It's if you look at the direction, man, it is D5 Avalanche information pouring out. Are they going to arrest and round up all the bad guys in the next 30 minutes? And then hand out med beds and give your Iraqi dinars, and everything will be kumbaya. Will be flying around in jets and cars and all that cool stuff. I hope so, but if it doesn't, well, you still got to live, and you have to respect the fact that you are the one. You are creating reality, and you are a big part of the collective consciousness of what really goes down. So you're just as important, in my opinion, as the great white hats, the warriors. I mean, we all have our role to play. We're the digital side of this event, and then they got to do the kinetic stuff. I mean, you know, it's deep and wide, man. The swamp is deep and wide. So may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force. You got this, and just keep priming the pump, man. Just keep doing the action. Whatever you want, whatever you can imagine, just keep doing it. I mean, I'm surprised to find myself like a little bit successful with this LifeWave thing. I didn't really think about it. I don't feel like, but it took me 3 years to realize, well, wait a minute, this stuff is really good. I just sort of took it for granted. And it the things that I planned, I wanted to be a big podcaster. It's just like, it's kind of happening in a way, but it, I met Michael Jaco tonight. He's got, I don't know. It's a different level. Do I care anymore? I not really. I mean, I'm just happy to do what I love to do, and the rest is just, if I can make a few dollars on LifeWave, thank God, because I have to do this, and it's nice. It's nice to eat. There's no shame in eating, in my opinion, and the economy may get worse before it gets better. So whatever. All right. So, may source be with you. May you realize that you are a creative force and source. And let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock the world.